If it happens, it happens. Amazing. It ain't the sole reason why I do this, but there ain't nothing better again than generating that income from what you love generating in general. You know what I'm saying?
All right, welcome to another episode of Functional Conversations. I'm your host, DJ Shakee. Yeah, I know this dude for a long time now. Like we running up on a decade, maybe roundabout. Yeah, and then I just got his government name, like I think today.
Right.
MC artist Destruct.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show.
Hey man, pleasure to be here, bro. We go back like full flats on the Cadillac ever since Wu-Tang Radio. But yeah, man. Shout out to Swift, the whole Wild One Radio family. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's great to still see you doing this, man, and appreciate you for having me on, dog.
Yeah.
You know?
So he hosted the format with Swift. Swift is family. He's been on the show.
Yes, sir.
Hosted the function with me, but also before the function, hosted the format with Destruct right here.
Yes, many episodes, many years ago. And it might come back. We'll see. Me and Swift been talking.
Okay,
you
good.
never know.
Yeah.
You know, we'll let the planets align accordingly.
Right.
You know
the function may come back too. We'll see. We're in the studio. You're only the second person to record here.
Hell yeah.
So when this is fully done, we'll probably bring the show back. And
Cool. So I popped the cherry for the second time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So anyways, let's jump right into this. This is how I started off all the time. Where do you feel your creative journey started?
Oh, man. It started with, it's funny because I always tell people the same kind of introduction was, Nickelodeon.
Okay.
This little show called Rugrats. Criss Cross did a commercial for them, blew my mind. I was like, what the fuck is this? Never heard something like this before. Really? Like I would hear rumblings, but I was barely 6 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Criss Cross did a Rugrats commercial?
They did a Rugrats commercial and it just blew my mind. And ever since then, bro, it was second nature. Started freestyling, beatboxing. That same first year, I went to Brazil for the first time. Mm-hmm. And, my mom would put me on the spot in front of my family. Like, oh,
you're Brazilian, right?
Yeah. My mom would be like, oh, my boy's rapping now. Now, mind you, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm getting shy. It's my first time.
Hey, wait, how old are you again?
6 years old.
6 years old, okay.
So it's 94 to be exact. Do your math, you know what I'm saying? So
a little younger than me, but
yeah, it's all good. Keep the grace to a minimum.
Oh, I let my voice out. I let it out.
Salt and pepper's here.
Yeah.
So, she put me on the spot, right? She's like, oh, perform for the family. And I'm like, man, ain't no beat or nothing. Like, I can't get really, vibe out. But then I remembered that same year as I got introduced to hip hop, my dad put me up on Game with Rock. And Queen was like one of my favorite bands. And I kept thinking that We Will Rock You. And I was like, I think I could have them do that and just stomp their feet, clap their hands, and I just freestyled to that. So the same year I got introduced to rock and hip hop, I also performed for the first time for my family,
6 years old, you got your family to make a beat and you freestyled over a beat?
Can't be more genuine than that, bro.
All right. I mean? Okay.
And at the same time, I was incorporating beatboxing, and then that led to school projects and talent shows, and any chance I could kind of, sprinkle in this new talent that I was, generating and developing, I was for it.
Okay. So you pretty much just rolled with that the whole time.
Yeah, man. Just felt it. And then as I started, getting hip to the culture, first album I ever owned was Warren G, Regulate, G-Funk era. And then I got more hip to Wu-Tang and Tupac and Biggie, and just the more I expanded, my love and interest into this culture and this music,
So is there any point where you were just kind of, okay, I'm doing this for fun, I like doing this, but now I'm gonna be serious with it?
I mean, I think it was like immediately, bro. I was just so tapped into it. Like my mom couldn't get me to shut up. Like I was rapping, beatboxing my ass off every day. I think the first time I actually wrote a lyric, I was maybe 10 or 11. And everyone just knew me as, oh, that's the rapper guy. You know what I'm saying? That's the guy that does it. I'm starting ciphers. You know what I mean? Like I just knew that it was more than just give me a purpose in life. Like it just gave me self-worth. It was therapeutic. It was like my livelihood. It was, part of my projects and schoolwork. It just made so much sense, and it clicked in my head,
Yeah. I get that. I remember some school projects we would just rap.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Easy money. You know what I mean?
Yep. I mean, I didn't stick with rapping, obviously, but I get it.
And I actually DJ a little. I remember having a basic ass Statin 60 DJ pack. They even came with a VHS tutorial. Oh, wow. Shittiest mixer.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, dude. That I even brought one time. I was DJing for my boys, and they opened for Blue and Exile. And I remember Exile. I don't know how he finessed that mixer. It was such a shitty mixer. Had no traction. But yeah, man, couldn't break dance. But I was into the, you know what I'm saying, I couldn't do graffiti, but I was into the MCing and the DJing. So, you know what I mean, I was already tapping and the beatboxing.
Right.
That's the lost element right there, you know?
Yeah. So you performing right away as a kid, and you started, I'm assuming you did like school showcases, talent showcases, stuff like that. And maybe we fast forwarding a little bit, but when did you first get a check from hip hop?
No, that's a good one, man. I want to say, damn, let me go back, man. Maybe when I was, well, I put my first album out, right, when I was 17, 18, right, Rebel Minded. That's 07, 08. And I think I want to say I sold all, man, it was at least what? Oh, I got to go back in time. Oh, man, I don't know if it was definitely more than 100 copies. And I think I pushed all that in the same year. So $10 a pop, you know, do the math. Yeah. So for me to like pay back the investor who was managing me at the time and also break bread for myself within my first year, let me know like, hey, this is a reality. Like I actually can break bread from what I love doing. It's not just for shits and giggles. Like I actually can take this craft serious, you know?
So you actually had somebody funding you for that?
Yeah, so for the first project, I had this cat who was, I guess, wanting to be my low-key manager. And mind you, I met him when I, at the time, you know, and I still do, shout out to my live band, Inner City Soul, they got hip to me through MySpace. And this is when I didn't even have, like, too many original joints. Like, I was doing tracks to, like, Ninth Wonder and DJ Premier instrumentals. Right. You feel me? Yeah. And they just dug my steez and approached so much. They're like, hey, man, you want to join our band? So through the band, the conga player, he offered to manage and invest in my first project. Okay. So I was slowly working on it, and you know, things kind of just fell into place. And I want to say less than a year or two, you know what I'm saying, the album saw the light of day, and he invested in it, got me to open for Slum Village and a couple big shows. And then when that didn't work out, it was kind of like a blessing in disguise, because it let me know, like, yeah, you could have someone manage you and really try to, you know, help you. But at the end of the day, if you want shit done right, you really got to do it yourself. You got to be in the driver's seat to really have your own destiny in your own hands, because not everyone's always going to be on the same page and tip that you're on. You know what I mean? But it was interesting to just have that experience at an early age, you know?
So your first check pretty much was selling your own album.
Selling my own merch, man. Absolutely.
And merch.
Yeah, dude. I had a couple tees printed, but yeah, that first hard print Rebel Minded album, I went all out. You know, 16 tracks. The booklet opened up all crazy. My cousins, they used to design for Warner Brothers, and they did stuff for like Murs and Quali. So to have like official artwork, to have an official product on the streets, on some Too Short shit out the trunk, you know what I mean? Just doing what I had to do to really get my name out, and just being hungry. It was all the motivation I needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you born and raised LA?
Born and raised in LA. I was born in East Los. Then I migrated to West LA, to freaking Lancaster, to the Valley. Now I'm in Long Beach. So yeah, I'm a CA boy, man.
Okay. East LA. I'm from Monterey Park mostly. So
yeah, you know what it is.
Yeah, right around the corner.
Yeah.
Actually, East LA College is in Monterey Park.
There you go.
You close to that side, or are you further?
I'm in Long Beach now.
No. I mean,
East side. No, yeah, well, no. When at the time it was like, I want to say it was like the UCLA off Soto. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, so it was borderline City Terrace.
Okay.
And then from there, I was like La Brea, Pico area.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then kept migrating, and then ended up in Lancaster with my mom and my stepdad, and then migrated to Van Nuys, and then now Long Beach. So it's definitely interesting to see just how different areas are. But I'll keep it a buck with you. All my roots in hip hop are all LA bound. Like my first show ever was at the OG Gabba off of Melrose and Normandy. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Root down.
Exactly. And then going to Project Blowed, going to Urban Underground, really just going, you know, out of my way to see like what's really cracking. And this is before social media was even a thing. This is all word of mouth and flyers, and you know what I mean? So even though I lived in different hoods, my whole essence and development and just, you know, the journey I took as an MC all started in LA, and still takes place in LA, you know?
Right. I mean, when you born and raised here, I mean, I don't want to say everybody, but some of us, you know, it's what we do, it's what we live, it's, you know, we rep that.
Exactly.
So you had a manager, sort of, right?
Yeah.
How did that play out? Like, was the manager taking a percentage of the sales on the album?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, you know, how we broke it down was like, you know, as long as production gets taken care of first, I keep everything else. And the fact that I pushed over 100 copies in like less than 6 months, you know, I was able to cover that easy and then profit from my hard work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay. So they, your manager pretty much fronted like studio time and all that sort of thing?
No, I had the project already like almost done. Shout out to my people with Zoom, and rest in peace to my brother EQ. Those are my first studio like engineers that I ever worked with that gave me a place to really hone my skills and even craft, you know, my first project, which at the time was just kind of songs I had brewing from between ages of 16 and 18. And then it just found its home and became Rebel Minded, my debut. And so I presented that to the manager that was interested, wanted to invest in your boy and help bring my first project to life.
He pretty much funded the like the hard copies.
Just the hard copies, packaging, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's not too bad. But then did you rock with him for a while? Or?
No, I think maybe a year after. So kind of he just had to drift off, do his own thing, you know.
Okay.
And you live and learn. I think he's like, oh, I apologize for being your friend or something like that. It was just some weird. Yeah, it was like, okay. And I guess it made me realize you can't always mix, I guess, business and personal. You know, it has to have it. Everything has to have its own lane. Sure. And then if anything, that made me just more efficient to just handle things on my own. You know what I mean?
So in all these years, you pretty much has been like fully independent?
Fully, man. So, my own publicist, own promoter, you know, own distributor, you know, for most of the time. I got a couple plugs now, but everything you see is just me, you know what I'm saying, putting my foot down, pedal, you know, pedal to the metal and just making the shit happen, putting things in motion.
Okay. No management, no marketing team.
It's just me, myself, and I, bro. No Irene, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay. How do you get your name out then? You just showing up to spots, shaking hands?
I mean, I've been blessed. I've been blessed to rock in New York, Chicago, Miami, Arizona, New Mexico, Vegas, you know, the Bay. You find a way, man. Not to sound cliche, when there's a will, there's a way. You just connect the dots. Now, since there is social media, I'm able to connect with people from all around the world and make shit happen. You know, my 2 vinyls I put out was from a label out in Greece. You know, shout out to Mind the Wax. You know, I had to go all the way to Greece to get my vinyls, you know what I'm saying, pressed up and distributed. So, you know, coming from the humbler days where it was all about hand to hand, word of mouth, face to face, people actually put value on that. It just made me like kind of understand the in and outs of just how to build social skills, how to be confident in what you do, how to be presentable, professional, and everything. So then when it came to online, you know, business, it was easy. You know what I mean?
Okay. So as an artist though, and I don't need numbers, I don't need like your net worth, but as an artist, where does the biggest chunk of your money come from? Is it coming from like merch? Is it coming from shows? Is it coming from like record sales or streams, or, you know, I don't know what your social media is like. Are you like monetizing social media? Like what's that looking like?
I mean, of course, everything I try to monetize to the fullest extent. As of lately though, I'll be honest, what's been paying me the most is just my new, you know what I'm saying, I guess you could say, stepping into the world of videography. Okay. You know, it's something that I've always been a fan of. I've always been a movie buff myself. So it was an easy way to just translate my love for the culture, you know, musically, to now being behind the lens and bringing other people's visions to life. Okay. And yeah, man, I want to say from videos alone, I've started this, I want to say, a little over 3 years ago. Okay. And I've made easily like over 20 racks off videos. And this is just me and my iPhone and a vision. You know, this is before I even had a Steadicam. Now with my equipment that I got, I'm able to elevate everything else as well as elevate the prices. And it's a beautiful thing. And I've been blessed to work countless times with legends like Blue, Medusa, people from Boot Camp Click, people from Wu-Tang, you know what I mean? So like the portfolio is crazy. And so I started Resident People. I started Resident People Films. And it's just crazy how a lane I never expected to be in ended up being one of my most profitable, you know, investments that I've ever done. You know what I mean? Music aside.
Well, we got a link on that too. I mean,
absolutely.
You know, that's pretty much my day job. You know?
So you understand where I'm coming from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that it's just, it don't even feel like work to me, bro. Like I always had an affinity for film. You know what I mean? Like I always looked at films like just moving pieces of art. You know what I mean? It was more than just entertainment. You know what I mean? Like same way I would dive into a record. You know, same details I notice in creating this music, same details I go into creating this visuals. You know, I got one coming soon with Rocker from Dilated and the homie Stro that I'm really excited to tap into. You know what I mean? So that too, the fact that, you know, this new lane I'm traveling in is
Stro live in LA.
You feel me? It keeping me connected with, you know, the OGs that much more.
Yeah.
Not just on my musical ventures. You know what I mean?
That's what's up. All right. Well, hold that real quick. But just for the sake of somebody who's just doing music, right? I know a lot of people a lot of people who are artists or creative, you tend to tap into many different aspects of things, right?
Yeah.
But for somebody, let's just say somebody who's strictly just an artist, and I don't want to say that just an artist, I don't mean it that way, but I mean somebody who like that's their sole lane. Let's kind of break that down a little bit. Kind of what I asked you before, like out of the different aspects of music, where do you get the biggest check from?
I mean, I'll be honest, there's months where the streaming surprises me, even though it's pennies of pennies, percentages of pennies. There's some months that I'm like, oh, damn, you know what I mean? Shit's moving, especially when it's like, you know, the first month of a new record and I can really see those things really coming back. But I'll be honest, I've been running my studio for a while too, man. Area 52, originally in Van Nuys, now I'm in Long Beach, and that's definitely been a big percentage of, you know, how I've been getting my funds. I've been getting more, you know, into getting these features out. A lot of people have been seeing, just from my own ethics and quality and status, or however they want to label it, just however they want to justify their interest of wanting to work with me, I've been able to, you know, get some good change off of features as well, which has been awesome. And then of course, when I get to gig, sometimes I get paid for the show as well as get a chance to push the merch that I have on me. You know what I mean? So it all adds, you know. Done a couple films as well, so the royalties is awesome for that. Trying to get more into syncing. So the possibilities really are endless. I low-key want to do some theme songs with some wrestlers and shit. You know what I mean? Shout out to the homie Mega Ran, who just did New Day's new, you know what I'm saying, theme song. Yeah, so
the heel New Day?
The heel New Day, unfortunately. New Day sucks, but but yeah, man, so it really is limitless now when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, how many opportunities you can get monetarily speaking for this music shit. That's more than just, you know, YouTube and social media shit, you know?
So something like a feature, for example, right? Like, do you get paid up front for that, or do you sometimes, depending on who the artist is, you be like, yo, let me get the back end?
Yeah, I'll be real. Most of the times, it's they ain't getting nothing from me until I get that full payment. Honestly, sometimes I'll give them some leeway and get half up front, send a reference, and then, you know what I'm saying, when they can send me the rest, I'll send them all the files. But I try to handle everything up front, just to show I'm a man of my word. I deliver, and I handle everything usually within that same week. You know what I mean? Definitely.
But are you getting like back in on the song? Like, let's say that song gets like 1 million streams or whatever.
Yeah, definitely the splits is without a doubt. Like, you know, any feature we do, we got it. The splits is, you know what I mean? But they still got to take care of my time and just the presence on the song, besides, you know, everything else that comes after, you know?
Yeah. So since you are independent, are you reading those contracts yourself? Are you writing those up yourself?
Honestly, I keep all receipts, whether it's via email or text. I think that's, you know, for the most part, it's been more than valid, you know what I mean? And luckily, you know, I haven't had to do anything, you know what I'm saying, where I was, you know, legally bound or fighting for something. Everything has been pretty straightforward. I mean, you know, me, man, I always say this, you know, you meet me once, you always know who I am. And I like that to translate to my business as well. And I mean, the quality is going to speak for itself.
And you haven't, like, you know, you haven't come across anybody who's kind of like shady, try to screw you over, or?
Yes and no, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's the rap game. What you want, bro? It's the most fickle, petty business there is in the world. It's the riskiest biz you could tap into. That's why, reason 4, I like getting that money up front. So whatever happens after, hey man, at least I got taken care of and we can keep it moving. You know what I mean?
Your time's taken care of.
Exactly. Hey, time is money. You know what I mean?
Right. So nowadays, right? I know we talked a little bit earlier, you work in a day job, but is music taking care of things like, I don't even know how to put it in a good way, but it's like music pays your bills for the most part, right?
I mean, I'll keep it a buck. Not always. Where of course I gotta have other side hustles like everybody else just to make ends meet. But when it does, there's nothing more self-gratifying than making an honest living from what you honestly love doing. Real talk. I can't say it more simple and direct than that, bro. Right. You know what I mean? So when it hits, it counts. And I'm gonna tell you, there's been moments where in 1 week I'll have 3 sessions lined up for my studio, 2 video shoots, and 2 features. And it's like, that's like literally over 3 racks right there in a week. So sometimes it's beautiful. And sometimes, you know, there's that distance apart sometimes from one check to the other. That's why in that meantime, you got to have other ways to make the ends meet. You know what I mean? That's why I tapped into running the studio. That's why I tapped into filming. That's why I tapped into touring. That's why I tapped into doing these features, you know, amongst other things that I'm trying to, you know, get in as well.
So let me ask this. When you have a studio, is it just you running the studio, or do you have partners? Or
it's all me, bro.
It's all you. Me. So let's say you got a tour going on, so nobody comes to the studio.
I mean, they got to wait for your boy, you know. It's just they're not just paying for, you know, the process. They paying for my time, my ear.
Right.
You know, I don't just press record. Like I executive produce pretty much anything that anything that I'm on. Anytime I'm working with someone, I'm gonna executive produce the shit out of that track.
Is it a home studio or you got a spot?
It's all home studio. In Van Nuys, I did have a studio, but since I moved to Long Beach, it's a home studio now. But hey, man, it don't matter what you use, is how you use it.
Yeah.
And quality gonna speak for itself.
I mean, nowadays, especially with technology, there's some. I mean, I don't want to call it like cheap gear or low end gear. Let's say there's some more affordable gear that is pretty good quality nowadays.
Man, I got my Shure SM7 that cost almost like $400 or $500 with a little isolation shield. My Pro Tools, little Scarlett. I make shit crack. I've seen OGs like Static Selector have a mic in the middle of his living room, and they made classics in that day, whether it was Bun B or Terminology or whoever he was building with, you know?
I told you these mics were mad cheap, and they sound
butter, dog.
Yeah, they sound
crispy. Mantequilla, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't got the craziest setup, but best believe like the quality is gonna speak for itself. Like anyone could record, but there's a reason why people pay for my time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like doesn't matter if it's, you know, like live band, heavy metal, hip hop, R&B. I got a wide array in my executive producer credits to people that I work with, that I promise you, if you put that project next to anything else they've done, just like you said with those two mics, you're going to hear a difference.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to even rephrase it, I guess, because when you mentioned running a studio, you're not running a physical like location studio. You're running as in they're getting you as a producer, executive producer, or like someone hands-on.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm not just a robot pressing record and, you know, thank you, come again. Like, nah, I'm actually taking my time to craft what's the full potential of the artist I'm working with.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And being like, you know, and I guess in a sense, like instructing them like, nah, you can deliver this better, or try it this way, try it that way. You know what I mean? Throw a dub here, throw a dub there. You know what I mean? Like really trying to, you know, finesse a solid piece of work, because at the end of the day, my name's going on it too. You know what I mean? So it's not just because I'm doing it for the change. I'm doing it because, you know, I love what I do and I care about the quality and the status that goes with, you know, the reputation that I've been building on and anything that my name's on, you know?
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the albums, right? I know you got one recent, which we're going to get to, but how many releases have you put out thus far?
I think we're about 34 now, almost as much as my damn age. It's crazy when I think back on it. Like, damn, I've been cooking up for you know, for that long. And with this latest one, Canvas Never Lies, it's a funny situation, you know, because the album didn't come out exactly how I envisioned it. You know, unfortunately, files got lost, computer crashes, shit happens, life be lifing. Yeah. But I was able to put together the references that I was able to, you know, still salvage and pretty much get them mastered. And it's like literally the rawest and most honest album that I've ever put out. You know, hence the title, The Canvas Never Lies. It kind of just shows you like, hey man, whatever's being put on this canvas is my truth, you know? Yeah. And so even though it isn't as polished and as well engineered as I wanted it to be, the fact that I got, you know, people like my brother EQ, God rest his soul, and Acid Rain, and, you know what I'm saying, Dank from Frank and Dank, and JFK from Static Selectors Camp. You know, I got this crazy lineup, and my boy Geronimo X is an amazing producer. I couldn't let this go away. I was like, this deserves to see the light of day. Even if it's some raw shit, I think like that classic freestyle with Big L and Jay-Z. Yeah. It's a legendary song. It's a grimy ass recording. I was like, you know what? I think to the common ear, no one's going to stress the technical shit that us artists behind the scenes really like pay attention to. You know?
So speaking of this album a little bit more, so you just mentioned some of the artists that are on there, and kind of going back to them artists taking care of you, you take care of them first?
Yeah. Well, what do you mean exactly?
As far as like you getting paid to do a feature for somebody, how's it work? You just say, yo, this is my budget, you down? Or
well, see, when it comes to my albums, dude, there's a reason why people are on it, and more than half the time it's not because I paid them for it. It's a genuine connection, genuine respect. I actually feel like they're adding something to the project. Sure. They fit the beat, you know what I mean? I look at everything like I'm executive producing it myself, you know? So it's not just a transaction that you're hearing. This is like a true, real, genuine respect for me and whoever I'm working with, especially if they featured on my projects. You know what I mean? Right. So with this one, it was special because I've been working on it since 2021, and I never thought I was gonna see the light of day. And the fact that I just decided to, you know what, I've been losing people left and right. I heard this crazy sample on the last Visionaries album. I think Jazzy Jeff said it. He's like, as a creative, die empty. Yeah, die empty, bro. Because tomorrow ain't promised for nobody, and you know what I mean. Might as well just put this shit out. And it just felt good to do it. And I'm in between projects now. Like I got my hands on so many different things, and I'm planning my next vinyl deal. I figure, you know what, let me just give something to feed the people. In the meantime, that's still a solid body of work. Even though it's raw reference tracks that I mastered, shit still slaps, you know?
Oh, okay, so you didn't even re-record anything.
I couldn't, bro. I lost the files. The producer, you know what I'm saying, kind of was low key, and he had to get off social media and doing his own thing, and just life be lifing for everybody. So I literally had to piece together whatever references I could. I had DJs from France to do some cuts for me, and literally take that with my other boy from Chicago, and literally I'm piecing together these references, literally, as we say in the biz, Frankenstein in this shit for it to see the light of day. And to see the feedback and the responses getting is awesome. That the fact that my reference songs are even doper than half the shit that's out now that's professionally mixed and mastered. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So some of the relationships you make with people, how much of that is, oh, I met so-and-so in person at a show, or how much of that is just like a cold random message on like a DM?
It's 50-50 because some people, we have access to them in real life, and some of them are out of state, you know what I'm saying, out of the country. So it's 50-50, but either way, it's always genuine. You know what I mean? Yeah. The respect has got to be established before even thinking about working together. Yeah. That's me, because with me, is first impressions is everything. And if the respect ain't even there, I'm not even acknowledging the existence of that shit. But the fact that it's there and we both are doing something that we're both trying to excel in, and it's we ain't going to let you go out like that. The canvas never lies. The title says it all. You know what I'm saying? They gonna speak their truth just as much as I'm gonna speak mine. So
it's been out for a little bit now. I know you gave it to me about a month ago, or almost a month ago already.
Came out. What was it? February 25th. Okay. So a little less than a month. Okay. And it just feels awesome to see stuff that I put my heart into see the light of day, even though it isn't exactly what I wanted. Again, the feedback I've been getting has been awesome to let people know, hey man, even though, as raw as this is, it still sounds like a solid and complete body of work. And that's all I ever want to put out, And
you've put out enough now that you kind of have I feel you might have a general idea. Do you know right away when you put something out? Can you tell just by how many people are listening? Can you tell if it's going to do well or not?
I'll be honest, I never catered to an audience, bro. Okay. I can honestly give a fuck less whether they're gonna rock with it or not. It's just that's what I was feeling in that moment in time. I was never about catching a wave. I wanted to create my own, you feel me? Yeah. So before this was Sharpshooters. Ironically, how wrestling came back now, me and my boy Zoe were taking time with that. That's just what we felt in the moment. And it's just ironic when it saw the light of day, you know what I'm saying? Now it's impacted with where the culture's at now. With this project, with Canvas Never Lies, I was always a boom bap kid at heart. Yeah. And some people could say maybe it sounds dated or not, but the subject matter and everything I'm talking about, even though I've been working on it since 2021, it's now more relevant than ever. And it's crazy how sometimes shit you did in the past is low-key premonitions for where you are now and in the future. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I told you when we were on the phone, I was playing in the car, and my son, not that he knew the song, but when he asked for a song that he did know, he asked for "Can I Kick It?"
hence the hat you wearing, you know what I mean? Makes sense.
Yeah. I'm usually in an LA hat, but
no, but I get it though, because there is joints that have hard hitting drums, just like some classic Q-Tip production. You know what I mean? So it's dope that he can correlate that.
Yeah, he just kind of connected it to listening to boom bap.
Just tell him this is a Tribe Called West, son.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yep. LA all day. He's born. Well, part. Yeah. He lives out here. He's born and will be raised here, as far as I know.
It's LA enough.
Yeah. So out of all the projects you did, do you ever have any at some point where you're like, oh, I don't want to hear that one again? Or
there might be people and things I had fallen out with, or even ex-girlfriends or whatever, but I feel like, we all got a past, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like Pac said, only God could judge me. So I could really care less how anyone feels about it. My music really is chronologically capturing where I was in those moments those moments in time of my life since I was, 16 to now, what I'm saying, 36 now. Yeah. So it's just crazy how time flies, dog. And it's damn, like, almost 2 decades now of me creating and being an independent artist, and the fact that I can even put out, an album full of references and still hit, like, it's like, if it was something that I professionally got mixed and mastered, I think it says a lot. I think it says a lot, and that I'm still proud to have this in my catalog. It's not a throwaway, you know what I mean? And every lyric hits that much harder. And the fact that the title, I think it's something that could resonate with a lot of people, regardless of whatever your canvas is in life, it's going to really speak your truth and whatever you want to give out to the people. You know what I mean? So I love when I come with something that's more than just the music. It's like a statement for your life without even trying to be too preachy. It's just something that could really resonate with you. The canvas never lies, and you could take that however you want to take it,
Right. Was there ever a point in your music career where you were like, oh man, I don't want to do this no more? Or is it just, so you have had that? No.
I'm just nodding like, word. Okay. I'll be honest, bro. Like, I've been through hell and back with this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, hell and back, bro. And if anything, it always just added the fuel to the fire. You know what I mean? Because again, this isn't just for monetary gain. This is my therapy, my livelihood, sometimes even my best friend. You know what I mean? Sometimes rocking the show, or, getting them big checks in and touring, the feelings is better than sex, or whatever I could feel from anything, you know what I'm saying? But shout out to wifey though. But what I'm trying to say is that this music has given me so much. There's a reason why, like, the first tat I ever got says nothing without music, because that's how I truly feel. Like, this gave me so much in my life that I'd be a fool to throw it away. Like, I couldn't breathe and really function properly without this, So shout out to the function. We on the nose. But yeah, bro, like, regardless of how bad things got, sure, I would question it, but I would never let doubt get the best of me. You know what I mean? I would never let, like, any of whatever's happened outside or within music to stop my forward motion, because I knew this is what I was meant to do. And regardless of however people want to justify or their meter of success, in my mind, where I'm at now and how I'm living, there ain't no accolade or plaque or award that could, let me know how nice I am. Rest in peace, Five Dog. You know what I mean? There ain't nothing that I need to let me know that I made it, and I'm doing it on my own terms. You feel me? And my soul's still intact. That's the best thing, is I never had to lower my standards or sell out to make a buck. I did it off my own fucking standards and what I thought was dope. You know what I mean?
So you maintain being an artist, and like monetary revenue is a byproduct.
I mean, look, dude, if it happens, it happens. Amazing. It ain't the sole reason why I do this, but there ain't nothing better, again, than generating that income from what you love generating in general. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not saying like, I would do it for free, but at the same time, it's like,
no. I put my foot down a long time ago. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for the culture. I'm all for bartering. That's that magic word that comes up a lot. Scratch my back and scratch yours. I'm all for it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I still got to look out for mine as well as for my family. Yeah. You know what I mean? We got to eat too. I'm just trying to eat too, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is it the Joker that said it in one of the Batman movies? Because if you're good at something, you don't do it for free.
You do it for free. Yeah. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to ball out. I'm still pushing my, little Corolla. Still make it look fresh, and I'm good, dog. You know what I'm saying? As long as I got, somewhere for me to tour, somewhere for me to rock, somewhere for me to push my merch, somewhere for me to get my features off, somewhere for me to, keep this clientele going, whether if it's studio based, videography based. I'm here, man. Yeah. I'm always gonna be in it for the long run. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm a kid. I'm a student of the game, and maybe I'll be a teacher one day. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So you mentioned wifey. You got married not too long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we're both newlyweds,
right? Not us personally, but in our own lives.
No. We are both each separately newlyweds. But so what's the plan? That you think in the family sometime?
I mean, let the universe do its thing, man. You know what I'm saying? It's still pretty fresh for us. We still got a lot of other things we want to take care of before we, you know what I'm saying, think about that. But you never know. I'm not completely saying no. Just right now, we got a lot on our plate as it is. You know
I mean, the reason I ask is just because being in music and in the quote unquote hustle, that can get taxing for a significant other. I know firsthand. So
I can imagine.
How does that balance play out in your house?
I mean, I'll be real. My girl helps me with my hustle, man.
Okay.
When I can't film for myself, she'll help me out, takes, my direction as well. And I'm bringing my, visions to life. You know what I mean? Fully supports me. It's that thing with like anything else in life, bro. As long as that trust and communication established, like, you got nothing to really worry about. And we had that unlocked before, you know what I'm saying? We both tied a knot and put rings on, you know what I mean? So she doesn't stress me, I don't stress her, and I think that's the beautiful thing about our unity, is that music is really what brought us together. If it wasn't for music, I wouldn't have a wife, you feel me? I wouldn't have a wife, I wouldn't have a best friend, I wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying, a career. Like, this music has given me so much that I would be a fool to ever let it go. You know what I'm saying?
I guess I should have asked that first too. Is she an artist of some sort? Or
no, I mean, she gets busy with paints, you know, painting here and there. You know, she's got her own canvases as well, to speak her truth. But no, for the most part, she's just she's always been a fan. Loves going to shows. I took her to see the Deftones in San Diego at Petco Park recently, which was amazing. Nah, that was the one up here. Yeah, I know. So our friends I would have loved to see that, but but to see like Be Quiet and Drive in the rain, was an experience, man. Chino's a bad motherfucker, but yeah, bro, like the fact that, you know, music brought us together, and it still does, and you know, and it inspires me that much more to keep going, because I think there's a lot of angst in artists, like especially like Eminem, for example, where like his mama and no one supported him, and that's what drove his music. But the fact that my folks and my wife believe in what I do, I think that's why a lot of my music is definitely more on the positive side of things, because that's the perspective that I'm blessed to have, that I'm blessed to be around. You know what I mean? When the love is real, I think it's expressed in so many ways. And when you got this canvas called music, I mean, shit, you know, possibilities is endless, you know?
Yeah. So she is a creative to some degree, but she works a day job?
Yeah, man, she does the accounting for, you know what I'm saying, this construction company. So she's a hustler. She's best believe she's a hustler, yeah.
Cool. So she got that unlocked, and her creative side too.
Exactly.
She just, she lives off of the non-creative side.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Which is good. I mean, I've always tried to keep kind of both.
Exactly. And the fact that we can break bread from the creative side, that's a blessing I don't take for granted at all.
For sure. Yeah. I guess the reason I was asking about family and whatnot is, what does the future look like? Like, is there retirement? Is there still making music, but maybe not doing shows as much? I mean, you know, Rolling Stones are dudes in their 80s still rocking shows. So I'm not saying you can't do it, but what does it look like for you in your mind?
I mean, honestly, bro, I really want to tour more to places I haven't been to. You know what I mean? I want to go back to, you know, my family in Brazil and Chile, you know, touch base more there too. You know, I still haven't been to Japan. There's so many places I would love to go. Dubai, you know what I mean? Like, you know, even like Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? Like that. There's just so much more diverse markets that I know my music could transcend there. You know what I mean? So for me, my future is I just want to keep steady moving, steady touring. Maybe, you know, in the videography sense, maybe even get into films. You know, I've done a little short films here and there. Who knows? Maybe even really tap into my director bag and make a full length film. You know what I'm saying? For studio work, who knows? Maybe expand to an office. You know what I'm saying? Maybe have its own location for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Of course, up in the ante with everything. I got some crazy features for my next projects that I'm beyond blessed to work with that I don't even want to announce yet. So that too, just working more with the people I grew up on, you know, branching out in different merchandising, you know, get more syncing. Like I said, you might see your boy do a theme song for a wrestler too. Who knows? I mean, the possibilities is endless, dog. I think now more than ever, it's just, you know, as I am in my own personal life and being selective, I want that to be in my professional life as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And ultimately, I'm just trying to protect not just my, you know, my family, but I want to protect my energy and well-being. And I want the music to be a true reflection of that as well, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously that's more work, which luckily people like us, we love what we do, right?
That part.
But is there a point where you just like, I want to retire, I want to chill?
I don't see it, bro. No, I don't see it. I mean, I'll be honest with you, bro. I have literally over 1,000+ emails of producers from around the world that keep inspiring your boy, or people hitting me up for features, and just more opportunities cracking. So even if I chilled, the door's knocking, and when opportunity knocks, you can't leave it alone. You got to open that door and see what's up. But the beautiful thing is that I've learned more than ever that there's so much power and, you know what I'm saying, benefits of saying no. You don't got to accept everything, you know, like if it isn't meeting your standard, you know, if it isn't really meeting your criteria, it's okay to say no. It's okay to turn things down. So I think, you know, the option of being selective now, since I'm a little more established, build my rapport in the scene, in this business, in this culture, I'm able to really, you know, be more selective with every decision I make. And I think that's the beauty of really putting in that work and building things off your own establishment, which I think nowadays a lot of people are afraid of that. They'd rather go the easy route, see if there's space in the back of someone's bandwagon, you know what I mean? Yeah. Whatever's the trend now, I'm like, fuck all that. I've always wanted to build my own sound and legacy since the moment I started this music shit, you know?
Yeah. So for me personally, right, like, I always say, if people are still booking me, then I'm still working, right?
Can't turn that money. Easy money, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But there are times, though, there's certain types of gigs that I think I want to retire.
Yeah. No more quinceañeras.
and to be, that's not even the ones, like, I would probably still take them, but me not doing it, I want to have, like my stepson or
right.
Like, let me send out some of the other homies.
Someone from the Shakee clan, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, or even whether they're the DJ homies or like one of the younger kids, like you do this.
As long as you get your percentage, you straight. You know
exactly. I think that's kind of more my route, but like gigs that I enjoy, like if you're gonna book me, I'll be there.
Exactly.
Until nobody books me.
Yeah, Wayne's World, man. If you book them, they will come. You know what I'm
saying? Right. That's true. But I guess on that, somewhat on the retirement note, even though you don't plan on retiring, you put like savings aside, investments. Like, what's that look like for you?
Yeah, of course you got to in this day and age, because nothing's promised. You know, at least enough to take care of. You know, when I'm not here, to take care of those necessities and whatnot. Absolutely, you know what I mean? Because so you don't want wife or anyone else to stress in case they end up outliving your boy. I want to make sure that at least they taken care of. Yeah. You know, I just did that. For my brother EQ passed, I was, able to help, with the family, raise more than $10,000 to make sure that his send off was proper and as easy going for the family as he transcended, you know what I mean? And it's not an easy thing. He unfortunately was going through a lot that he wasn't able to generate things on his own as much as he wanted to. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that at least with his amazing, legacy and the people that really cared, we were able to at least make that happen. So that's one thing I at least wanted to be at peace with. Whatever happens to me, that my family gonna be taken care of, and my music and legacy is gonna speak for itself. And I want to make sure that they gonna eat off of that as well.
So without being like intrusive in like how much you're putting in, but maybe break down for some people, like what are some of the things you're doing? Is it like stock? Is it bonds? Is it life insurance?
Life insurance for sure. Okay. I'll be honest, stock is something that my people's, some of my closest friends are tapping into. Mm-hmm. That I'm somewhat interested. It's just such a gamble, and I never was much of a gambler. Hence, funny, ironically, being in the riskiest business there is, that it's music shit. Yeah. But just money in general, just wasn't big on that. But life insurance for sure. You know what I mean? And as well as
like IUL type life insurance where you.
Yeah, okay. Dude. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And on top of that, definitely putting savings aside every month. So, things moving in places where no matter what, they can get contact to it. Right. If need be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, you kind of already said it, but let's just kind of reiterate it again a little bit. Like, why do you feel that's kind of important for you? Again, being you have a wife, and I feel you just said it, but I just want to kind of like reinforce that.
Because, man, whenever it's my time, I want, especially my wife and family, to know that they taken care of. That the last thing they got to stress on is finding out where they gonna put me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I want to make sure that everything is comfortably taken care of. Where that's the last thing they got to stress on. They got enough to deal with already by losing someone that they cared about. Why would I want to add more hardship to unfortunate situation, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And again, that's kind of, and even before we started talking, like that's kind of some of the stuff I always want to touch on here, is because I feel like as creative people not working in a typical 9-to-5 job, we don't have these conversations, right?
Very true.
Even some of the stuff we're saying about like even just the back end of how you're earning off of music. Like a lot of people don't get those.
No, we keep them splits. Yeah. We keep the splits active, son. Got more splits cracking than James Brown. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So without a doubt,
Yeah,
I feel you.
Yeah. No, but thanks for sharing all that for sure. So the new album's out.
Canvas Never Lies.
Next one is coming out when?
Probably I'll say summertime.
Okay.
Me and my boy Zoe's cooking. Me and my boy Blessed One's cooking. I got a lot of cool things in the works, man. Me and my band as well. So it's all divine timing, Doug.
Are you, so you working with Zoe, but you worked with him before too. Are you always working with the same people, or you kind of like mix it up a lot?
It's mixed. It's always mixing up. Definitely. Okay. You know what I'm saying? That's why like this last project was Geronimo X. Before that was Zoe. You know what I mean? So I definitely, when I find the right sound, I like sticking usually with that one producer for the entire project, right. Especially if they're well-rounded, bring something new out of me, bring something new out of them, vice versa. And also, you know, I don't want to reinvent the wheel, but I always want to have a fresh angle of where I'm coming at. I never want to be a broken record. I say that all the time, and it's the truth. Yeah. I want my discography to speak for itself, and whatever mood and state of mind you be in, best believe I'll have a soundtrack to match that, you know?
That's what's up. So, all right. I typically wrap it up this way. No matter how cliche the line is, or maybe it's an original line, what are some words of advice you would give to people?
Conviction is everything. Because if you can't convince yourself, how the fuck do you expect to convince anyone else? Conviction is everything. Simple as that, man.
Convince yourself. I feel that's a lot more important than it comes across as first. Like at first, like people need to really think about that.
It's not an everyday word, and I've said that's always kind of been my mantra, bro. Because I always knew that I was gonna make something out of my craft, make something out of my talents, make something out of my confidence and what I love doing. You know, and if you don't have that, and if you're basing it off other people's, or you're comparing, contrasting, it's like then what are you doing? How are you ever gonna identify with your own reason, your own worth? You know?
Yeah, and I guess the reason it kind of just hit me right now too is because even just recently, like my wife gets on me. Like if I say something like, "Oh, I think we can do this," she's like, "Why do you think you can do it? Just do it." Like,
si se puede.
Yeah.
Si se puede.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. I have a Mexican wife, so
you feel me? You feel me? But yeah, that's the best advice, fam. You know what I mean? Like, and again, not to preach, but most of my music is positive for a reason, because that's just how I'm seeing it. You're hearing firsthand of, you know, where I'm at in the driver's seat. You know what I mean? Regardless of whatever time in my life it was or is now, you know what I mean? Like, I never want my fans or my people to lose sight of that. I was always convinced that I was meant to do this. Whether you agree with it or not, you can at least respect the fact that I always spoke from a genuine place, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah, man, before we jump out, hit them with that social media. Where can they find you?
Destruct Music, destructmusic.com. Simple as that, man. One-stop shop. We everywhere. Wherever you listen to dope shit, just look up your boy, man. Destruct. The Canvas Never Lies, out now. Classics. That's all I know how to make. Quality music. That's all I know how to make. El arte vive. The art lives forever. People change, but the songs remain.
Yes, sir.
Blow.
Yeah. Thank you for coming through, man. Thank you for making the trek out this way.
Short trip.
Took a little
short trip.
Yeah, not too bad. It's like 30, 35 minutes.
LB's a hop skip away, dog. We good.
Yeah. But, you know, we were rescheduling and we made it happen.
All divine timing, dog. Yeah. We can't hear the function, man. Pun intended. Sir. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. We'll catch y'all next week. Functional Conversations. Destruct.
Pleasure, Dougie.
Thank you.
You already know. Peace.